everybody, Sol here. I have only one rule here. It's animated, I'll comment on it. And I don't read comic books. I know that's kind of a weird way to start off an episode, but I just want to get that out of the way right now, right here, before we get anything started. I don't read superhero comic books, which is one reason why I don't review superhero-related cartoons very much, because there's just a gigantic fuck ton of continuity that I don't know about and I don't want to stick my nose in. I mean, you know nerds like me, if you fuck that up, they're gonna be crying for blood pretty fast, and yeah. But you know what, I feel that this past season has been about, well, conquering my review-based boogeymen like Sonic and the Lorax and Megas XLR and reviews in the future as well. So, why the hell not? Let's take a look at the heavily requested Young Justice. Young Justice is a 2D animated series and an indirect adaptation of DC Comics' Young Justice monthly comic book series, taking place in an alternate timeline to DC's official continuity. The series is produced by DC Entertainment and Warner Bros. Animation, and it aired on Cartoon Network in 2011 with a total of 2 seasons and 46 episodes, with the second season being dubbed Young Justice Invasion. The series was cancelled due to a toy deal with Mattel that provided the main source of funding for the show's production. When the toy line wasn't selling well enough, the line was pulled, as well as the show itself, though rumors of a third season being produced for Netflix have recently surfaced. Definitely an odd reason for a show to be cancelled. I mean, I've never heard of that happening before, but maybe it's more common than I know. But you're not here to hear that story today. No, you're here to hear about Young Justice. So, let's just get started, shall we? Alright, before I even say a word about the plot, I'm going to state that no, as I said, I do not read comic books and therefore have no idea how the stories and scenarios correlate to the Young Justice comic book storyline, if they do at all. I'm going to be judging it purely on the content presented in the show itself. Okay? You got it? Awesome. Alright then. So the plot, nope, sorry, I can only give you a cursory glance at the basic premise, because in all honesty, this show was literally bursting at the seams with plot, and it'd take too long. So the most I can boil the premise down is that the series follows the trials and tribulations of a group of young heroes who form their own team that works covertly alongside the Justice League. Yeah, that's as simple as I can make it, but trust me when I say that there's no shortage of interesting happenings in this show. It may sound simplistic, but it's anything but simplistic. It's so jam-packed with twists and turns that it's honestly hard to keep up at times. Though I can't deny that these twists and turns are all very compelling and do a really good job of drawing you into the scenarios. So, it's all good in my book. Hopefully the characters will just be as compelling and mesmerizing. Alright, characters, I'm ready. Compel me, mesmerize me, give me everything you got. Well, perhaps I spoke too soon. I mean, holy shit, on a tricycle, there are so many characters! It'll be impossible for me to talk about them all, so I guess I'll just briefly state any characters worth mentioning. We got Robin, aka Dick Grayson, Batman's adopted son, Superboy, aka Connor Kent, a clone of Superman, Kid Flash, aka Wally West, the Flash's sidekick, Aqualad, aka Calderon, Aquaman's sidekick and leader of the team, Miss Martian, aka Megan Moores, the Martian Manhunter's niece, Artemis, Green Arrow's purported niece. There's Red Arrow, aka Roy Harper, aka Speedy, Green Arrow's previous sidekick who goes solo, Zatanna, Zatara's daughter, Blue Beetle, aka Jaime Reyes, third wearer of the Scarab, Lagoon Boy, aka Lagan, an Atlantean, Batgirl, aka Barbara Gordon, Impulse, aka Bart Allen, the Flash's grandson from the future, Bumblebee, aka Karen Beecher, Wonder Girl, aka Cassie Sandsmark, Wonder Woman's sidekick, Rocket, aka Raquel Irvin, Icon's protege, and just a whole fuck ton of villains and basically every member of the Justice League.
Jesus Christ, monkey balls!
Talk about character overload. I'm serious, I only mentioned some of the heroes involved. That's not even getting into all the villains and side characters. I mean, if you're a big DC fan, there's a pretty good chance one or more of your favorite characters will appear at some point. But even though I personally recognize nearly all the characters, I still think it's going a little too far with how many appear. Still though, I can't say there's any I dislike, with the exception of Lagoon Boy, who's an arrogant douche, Impulse, who's a loudmouth douche, and most of all, Superboy. Superboy is an angst-ridden whiner who does nothing but complain and yell. You can disagree with me all you want, but I mean it when I say that all I hear every time Superboy opens his mouth is Linkara's Superboy Prime voice.
I'll kill you! I'll kill you to death!
In any case, the vast majority of this Where's Waldo-esque lineup of characters are good, especially Dick Grayson's Robin and Aqualad, who are my personal favorites out of the cast. I know it sucks that I can't mention every single last character, but do you want to be here till next July? I know I don't, so let's just move on to what makes this series good, shall we? Okay, you guys ready for this? I know I certainly am, so bring it on. Now then, with the huge amounts of plot and the absolutely mind-shatteringly large cast of characters, you'd better hope that the story can sustain itself over the 46 episodes it has, right? Well, I'm happy to report that it does, and extremely well at that too. In fact, Jesus, this is a series that does not pull its punches at any time. It creates an exceptionally solid tone by taking itself very seriously, despite the concept being admittedly kind of silly at its core. And as I'm well aware, just because something takes itself seriously doesn't mean it's good. Right, Ben 10 Alien Force?
You fuck ass!
Though this series executes all its story beats in a way that makes it instantly gripping and enormously captivating, especially the whole Roy Harper, Red Arrow Arsenal story, and that's something I certainly wasn't expecting when first going in. In addition, the character interactions are all quite substantial, and do produce legitimate drama and tension between everyone, and it's fun to see how all the characters link together and form their own bonds and sub-stories. But let's talk about the action side of things now, and for a superhero series, you'd better hope that the action is good. And is the action good, voiceover me? Yes, indeed it is. I'm actually kind of stunned. This series is pretty balls to the wall with its action, and quite violent at times too. Sure, there's no excessive blood or anything, it's still technically a show aimed for younger audiences, but there's no denying that the action kicks major assitude on all accounts. When everything is put into perspective, this is clearly a show that had a lot of care and attention put into it, and that's something I can certainly respect. It would have been so easy to fuck up a concept like this. Teen Titans Go! But in my eyes, everything flows together so smoothly and works magnificently, due to the respect for the source material I can see layered onto every frame of this show. I guess some other minor good things would be that if you're a big DC fanboy or girl, seeing a whole menagerie of your possible favorite heroes and villains is pretty sweet. Hell, I'm not a DC fanboy by any means, and I still smiled whenever I recognized a character. That's great. You know, when I first put the show on my schedule for review, I was afraid I wasn't gonna have anything good to say about it and invoke the ire of the rabid comic book fans, but I seem to be doing okay so far. Not gonna look that particular gift horse in the mouth, let's just cautiously move on to the bad things, okay? What? It's just a precaution. So, to my relief, I don't have anything particularly major to say here, but I wouldn't exactly call this series perfect. And one reason for that is the overabundance of characters, especially in the second season. Now, don't get me wrong, other than a select few, I enjoy every character that trots out onto the screen. But every single one of these characters have enough background and story to fill their own series. Trying to cram every single one of them into a single series means that many of them get shoved aside for episodes at a time, or just abruptly appear out of nowhere with little to no explanation. And some of the ones that do get more screen time are the ones that irk me, like Impulse, Lagoon Boy, and Superboy. I mean, I get that their goal was to sell more toys, but seriously, there's entirely too many characters here. Plus, the sheer amount of angst the characters display kinda pisses me off. There's so much teen angst dripping off of everyone, you can actually see it plugging up their pores. And last but not least, I hate to say, but yes, this series does indeed end on a cliffhanger. Not the most aggravating one I've seen for sure, but still, I hate cliffhangers. I mean, they can be effective at times, but ending something with a cliffhanger is no guarantee of continuation. In my opinion, things should always wrap up at the end of a season so the new season can begin anew. I mean, they're separated into seasons for a reason. But enough about that. Let's get into my least favorite and favorite episode, shall we? So in terms of a least favorite episode, there really wasn't much to choose from. There's only a couple episodes that are less than stellar, but if I had to pick one, I would have to say that's the episode Secrets. In this episode, Artemis and Zatanna go have a girls' night out on Halloween instead of going to a school dance. However, the two are pursued by a crazy man who speaks in the third person named Harm, and the two must defeat him while uncovering his terrible secret. Also, Superboy, Kid Flash, and Miss Martian attend the aforementioned dance and have some shenanigans. Now, I don't hate this episode, I just don't particularly like it because it doesn't really advance the plot much. It just kinda happens and then everyone forgets about it. Not the worst sin an episode can commit, but in a series like this, that's more than enough to take my least favorite spot. Okay, y'all ready for this? Okay, sorry. Okay, so my favorite episode is called Satisfaction. Oh, and let me just say, there are quite a few spoilers here, so just keep that in mind if you're gonna be watching the series at any point. Following a long-ass string of events that I won't go into here, the original Roy Harper, aka Speedy, finally awakens at the hospital after being frozen for 8 years by Lex Luthor and Cadmus. Understandably pissed off about being frozen and having his right arm cut off, Roy goes on an all-out revenge mission against Luthor and proceeds to tear shit up. I like this episode the most because I, for whatever reason, really enjoy Roy Harper's story in this series. I mean, yeah, Roy's a bit bitchy throughout the majority of the runtime, but there's a good reason for that, and I don't find it nearly as irritating as Superboy. But other than that, the action is awesome, and I quite enjoy Luthor when he gets his time to shine. Well-spoken and manipulative villains are always so interesting to me. Do I need any other reason than that? Young Justice was very surprising in just how good it was to me. I mean, it's a show that can take its admittedly somewhat silly source material and make it mature and respectable, even to adults. It's a superpowered tsunami of awesomeness, and I can't recommend it enough. I give Young Justice 4 eyes out of 5. So, Young Justice. Is it watchable? Yes, actually it is. Like Generator Rex, it uses a very clean and neat animation style with some great background designs and some lovely character designs, so watch away, I say. Is it enjoyable? Well, I mean, if you can swallow the gigantic avalanche of story beats and characters, then I would give a big thumbs up to that. Is it memorable? Well, considering how many people are crying for a 3rd season, it's clear that a lot of people keep this series very close to their hearts, and you know what? You can count me in on that. I'm crying for a 3rd season too. I'd like to see it see the light of day. And you know, want to stay up to date with all the latest EyeofSol news? You can follow me on Twitter as well as on Facebook at twitter.com/EyeofSol299 and facebook.com/EyeofSol. I update them every day, so if you want to check out news on the show as well as updates, just follow the links here. Hey everybody, thanks for watching my review of Young Justice. I hope you enjoyed it, and you'll see the continuation of the story in Sol's Spooky Halloween coming next week. If you could like and share this episode, I'd really appreciate it, or if you could subscribe to my channel, that'd be awesome too. If you want to check out the previous Sol episodes, you can see the annotations playing on the video right now, or if you want to check out my various social media sites, you can see my links to my Twitter page and my Facebook page there on the screen for you, as well as in the description. If you have an idea for an animated series or movie that you want me to comment on that's not Code Lyoko, you can leave a message in the YouTube comments on any one of my social media sites, or just let me know in any way you can think of to let me know what you want to see, and I will add to my list. Okay? Thanks again for watching, everybody, and I will see you next week for the first episode in Sol's Spooky Halloween, The Revenge.